Josiah Trenchard, Part 2. Morgenstern. Prologue. How to make a monster. The woman's eyes flickered open. For a long moment all was confusion. There was pain somewhere, dull and throbbing, but she couldn't place it. It was like a fog or haze all around her. The light was searing and bright. Then a face came into view, a pretty woman with dark brown hair. Her face was kind, the sort of face you could confide in. She was wearing a bright red lab coat. Could she be a doctor? Where am I? The words formed in the woman's mind, but she couldn't vocalize them. Must try to sit up. No movement. Am I paralyzed? Have I been in an accident? What's going on? The pretty young nurse smiled, not in a comforting way, but more a smile of jubilation. Her eyes are open. There's brain activity. We've done it, she said excitedly. So I can still hear, thought the woman. Why can't I move or speak? I'm locked into my own body. Help me. For Christ's sake, help me. Panic overtook her like a wave. She was sucked under into a seething mass of fear. Another figure came into view, a taller figure, a man. He too was wearing bright red coveralls, but had a surgeon's mask across his face, and latex gloves on his hands. His hands were held up, raised in the air to keep them clean, and they were covered with bright orange iodine. Excellent, he said, leaning forwards excitedly. His voice had a thick French accent. His eyes smiled over the top of the mask, deep creases at the corners. The first time that a human brain has ever been reactivated successfully. His words sat in the woman's mind like a nesting spider and wriggled uncomfortably. Are they talking about me? What do they mean by reactivated? Another figure came into view from the side, a slender woman with long, dark hair. She was dressed all in black and had her hands placed on her hips. She scowled down at the immobile woman. It had better be worth it, said the slender woman in an accent that had a hint of Japanese undertone. Stealing her body from the naval morgue was a real pain in the ass. Body? I'm not dead. Help me. The man leaned closer. Don't worry, my girl, said the Frenchman. With all the confusion during the uprising, nobody will miss one body. If we can transplant the brain into the machine, then it will definitely be worth it. The man picked up something from a metal tray to one side and held it up. It was some kind of medical instrument, with a long, curved, sharp blade that glinted in the light as the man studied it. He leaned forwards, and his hands disappeared out of view. There was a wet sound like a knife cutting through lettuce. By the way, he said as he worked, did you have any trouble at the insurgents' command headquarters? The Japanese woman leaned in, studying what the man was doing with gruesome fascination. Not really. I ran into a couple of United Worlds troopers, but I took care of them. The man looked sharply across at her. You didn't kill them, I hope. You were explicitly ordered not to. Don't worry, snapped the woman. They'll both live. I gave one of them a scar to remember me by, though. He won't forget his mission to Bellatukadros for a long time. The name Bellatukadros sparked a memory in the woman's mind. I was there. I was a trooper. I was fighting the insurgents, and then a bomb went off. What happened to me? The Frenchman seemed satisfied with the Japanese woman's answer, and went back to his work. This body is perfect. The head is entirely intact, despite the shrapnel wounds to the torso, he said. After a moment, he stood up and handed the blood-covered instrument to the young nurse, who placed it back onto the metal tray. There, that's the spinal column severed. Now we can crack open the skull and remove the brain. The Japanese woman leaned in even closer, intently studying something. I'm sure she just blinked, she said. Are you sure that she can't feel anything? Yes, I can. Help me, for fuck's sake. Certain. The brain in the body died once already, and now the spinal column is disconnected. There's no way that the mind could have survived. It's like a blank hard drive that has just been formatted, waiting for us to fill it with new data. There's absolutely nothing of Lieutenant Hawkins left, I'm afraid. She'll never know her part in this groundbreaking procedure." "Hawkins, that's me!" the woman's mind screamed. "I'm in here. I'm not dead. Please help me." The man picked up another device. It had a rotary saw blade that spun and made a piercing whine as the man activated the trigger. He leaned forwards and looked straight into Lieutenant Hawkins' cold, dead eyes. "Right, let's get cracking," he said with a smile.